Good to go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? The second most important thing in Denver today is Dalton Knecht is balling out of control. Troy, I thought I'd bring this up because this unifies LA and Denver in a cool way. Have you been following Dalton Knecht?
Yeah, he's insane. I I need to pull up the list of all the teams that passed on him in the draft, but he's looking like the top guy right now in this draft class.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Now, this is a Denver boy. He went to Thornton High School. I'm sorry, wait. Prairie View High School in Thornton. And according to his Wikipedia, he his sophomore year he was 5'8". He's
Whoa,
he's like 6'7" now, something like that.
that's
And
talk about a growth spurt.
yeah, and just like a great story, a guy who kind of battled it out through junior college, had a great season. He ended up at UNC, played for the Bears. Then he transferred it to Tennessee, named Southeastern Conference Player of the Week, and just kept elevating his game. I always think about that, like how few people are really in the NBA in comparison to how many people ball, that like getting to the NBA, there's so many good players out there that are probably NBA talent that just don't get a chance. And here's a guy who just grind and grind and grind and grind, ends up on the freaking Lakers as the 17th overall pick. And I think he just scored 37 points the other night, something like that.
Yeah, he
Man.
goes nuclear from the 3-point line. I mean, yeah, only approximately 5,177 players have participated in at least one NBA game since the league's inception in 1946. 5,177 people since 1946.
It's
So,
insane.
what is that, 80 years, almost 80 years ago? And only 5,100 people in 80 years have played a single game in the NBA. So, think about those odds.
I know, especially a local guy from Thornton. Here's a
Hmm.
dude who like had to hold his dream, man. I just want to keep playing basketball. Talk about bloom where you're planted. You just keep showing up. I mean, his NBA debut was late October, and now he's like, I think he's starting, isn't he? Maybe
I'm
not.
not
Maybe he's
sure.
coming off the
He
bench,
might
but
he might have started a few games, but I don't think he's like cemented in the rotation yet.
yeah. So cool. I love that guy. It gives me something to root for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like he
Yeah.
got 37 points on the 19th against Utah Jazz.
Unbelievable. Shout out to that guy, man. And to be doing it for the Lakers, that's just you go from Thornton to LA and now he's a superstar. Good looking
Nice,
kid,
nice.
He's ready. Maybe he get cast in something out there. LeBron bring him to a couple of Sprite commercials or something. Get a shoe deal. It's over.
I'm sure that's coming. I'm sure.
This is my kind of player that I like to bet on.
Yeah.
Someone who's popping off, ready to go. It looks like he hasn't gotten a triple double yet. I might have to take that.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Dalton Knecht. Love it. It's so cool. That's the second most important thing. You guys having a most important thing happen in Denver this week?
Ooh. Hmm. I don't even know what's going on, really.
I keep I keep saying Bo Nix every week, so I can't keep saying it. So I'm gonna pass.
I mean, I could say it for you, Bo Nix, another great. I mean, that was a great game last night, and I really like that Browns team. I mean, Jameis Winston is my number one favorite quarterback.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Like he's thrown almost 500 yards. What is it, 4 touchdowns, and it's been his whole career. He can't finish it out. Like he always just has that turnover that's kept him that kind of backup quarterback his whole career.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were saying he had 700 yards and six touchdowns if you count the for the Broncos.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, man, that was a really fun game to watch. Defense kind of fell apart a little bit, but pulled it out with those picks. You know,
Yeah, that was shocking. That was not the Broncos D that we've seen this year so far. So yeah, that was pretty shocking.
I agree. I liked seeing Jerry have a great game. I know he was talking a little trash, but that's cool. He was just selling the game.
Hmm.
And he went out of control. I think he had 230 yards, something like that. He never had a game like that for Denver, but He's
No.
getting the proper looks. He never really was used in a good way in Denver. They just threw him in motion. He ran a mile in motion just to kind of like be a decoy. So I'm glad he's getting reps over there with the Browns.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised the Broncos didn't shadow him with Surtain, Patrick Surtain, because I saw some statistics that when Judy lined up against Surtain, he was not doing anything, and all his production came when he was elsewhere. And he was cooking them. So I couldn't figure out why they wouldn't put Surtain on him, but I'm sure the
Yeah,
Broncos will watch some film on that game and bounce back.
yeah, totally. The Broncos, man, I like this football team. I really do. We're going to
Yeah.
see. I think they're going to be spoilers. I think they're
Mhm.
going to get into playoffs as a wild card and like probably unseat the Chiefs in the first round. I'd love to see that.
That would be
Ooh.
insane. That
That
would
would
be
be
insane.
insane.
A couple weeks, we'll find out.
Nice. I was thinking about as we're kind of like adding some structure to the show, should we do a sports section? We kind of lead with sports. It's almost impossible not to. It doesn't
Yeah,
even
I
need
feel
a.
like the opening of the show is already a sports section
Yeah,
almost.
it's already in there. It's just not named.
It's not named. I know. We just lead with sports. Hopefully, people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I did want to give a shout out. I put out we got new newsletter subscribers last week. I hope you guys enjoyed that piece on Tesla in Colorado Springs. I'm working on making some of these like edutainment pieces that we're doing a piece of the website, so those can like live somewhere and people can go back and check them out. This next week coming up, I'm going to do the story of Silas Soule, and we've talked about that story a little bit. He's known for his role in the Sand Creek massacre, largely because he did not participate in the Sand Creek massacre, and he was murdered for it on the streets of dusty Denver. So this guy is always inspiration to me to do the right thing. He held back an entire cavalry that was attacking Black Kettle and a whole bunch of, women and children and elderly people, Cheyenne. So I'm going to outline that story this week on the newsletter. Also coming to the newsletter will be specials and deals you can only get on the newsletter. I've been talking to a couple of people. We have some features coming. I know I've been talking about it for a minute, but there's going to be hopefully a weekly deal starting in the new year where you're just going to get like unbelievable deals from mom and pop shops in Denver that make it unique. So definitely go to realgooddenver.com and subscribe to the weekly newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
And welcome to the Gosh Dang Podcast. What's Good Denver is a weekly celebration of culture and discovery and fun stuff to do in Denver for kids, couples, singles, and old timers. I'm Ryan Estes with Tom in sickness and in health, Donahue, and the Jameis Winston of podcasting, Troy Higgins.
Yes.
Feeling
And
better,
I mean
Tom?
that. I mean that in all love and admiration because Jameis Winston is a national treasure.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'm better. Yes. The flu is gone. So
Were you able to make a recovery before Thanksgiving?
no, we were still pretty sick on Thanksgiving. So what we ended up doing was getting a little Thanksgiving meal kit from a local spot. The steakhouse actually down in Park Meadows was doing meal kit pickups. So it was nice and easy. We were able to order one of those. $150 for a kit that feeds 4. So
sick.
It wasn't bad at all. You got your turkey. I still have some turkey left even. Turkey, gravy, nice mashed potatoes. What else? Green beans, cranberry sauce, some fresh baked bread. It was good.
Nice. Yeah. When I get sick, like, I don't know, it depends on the sickness, but sometimes like just regular food doesn't sound good to me. So I'm glad you were able to at least put back some Thanksgiving favorites.
Yeah, we got the Thanksgiving food taken care of, so that was nice. But no, I'm all good now. Just feeling solid.
That sounds like the coziest Thanksgiving. So you got boxed meals heated up. What'd you do on Thanksgiving Day?
Just that. So just hung out, watched some shows, and we were supposed to go over to my brother's place, but we really didn't want to spread any sickness around. But yeah, and I mean box meal, but this is like fresh cooked stuff from a steakhouse. Like you can buy it You can buy the meal kit cold or you can buy it hot. We bought it cold because we went and wanted to pick it up around like 2 p.m. and we ate later on around like 7. But it gives you the reheating instructions and everything. Like it's a solid setup. You know, my family, one of our really good friends back home in New Jersey and New York is a caterer. And once we started one year, I don't know what it was, but someone didn't have time to cook, so we just got it catered. Once we did that, we never went back. So catering on Thanksgiving is something that a lot of people overlook. I think it's fun to, go and get your home cooked meals and stuff, but I mean, caterers know how to cook too. And
Yeah.
man, it's just so easy. You don't have to worry about, your timing and everything. It's just like you can get your food delivered hot, or you just like your reheating instructions, and then you got some fire food with no grocery shopping, no cooking, any of that. And once my family did it once, we supported our catering friend every year since then.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I like collectively as our Thanksgiving group, we were in the kitchen from literally like 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, whether it's cooking, cleaning, preparing stuff, putting stuff out, appetizers, entrees, hors d'oeuvres, dessert. It was like you're in the kitchen all day, which is just like it's a part of it. It's a part of it. So I could definitely see how that would be beneficial to get the catering.
Absolutely. And you know what? I got to give them a shout out actually for saving our Thanksgiving, because we were bummed to not be able to go out. It's Perry's Steakhouse and Grill down in Park Meadows in Lone Tree. And inside of there, it actually looks really nice. I'd actually like to go there for dinner sometime. But they must have been pumping this stuff out. They must have a huge industrial kitchen in there, because most of these Thanksgiving meal kits, like, you need to have your order in a couple days prior. They're taking orders day of and come pick it up right away. So they must have been pumping out Thanksgiving food, and they were doing their full meal service at the same time. So shout out to Perry's for rescuing our Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So cool, man. When I was at Dazzle as the music director at Dazzle, they would always be open for Thanksgiving, New Year's, and Christmas. New Year's is probably not uncommon for a club, but and they were like the home for the wayward soldiers. The folks that like didn't have people, and so they would come. And at first I was like, oh man, I don't want to work the holidays. And then it just became my favorite thing, because people are so gracious and like excited. They're like, oh, thank you so much, and have like a big like a banquet style on both those days. And it was great. I think like non-traditional holidays sometimes are like the best.
Totally, totally.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nice. Cool. Last week, Tom, when you were on death's doorstep, I think you committed to like giving us a weather report for snow.
Oh yeah.
Are you prepared for that?
Let me
Or
let
I'll
me
give you a minute if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't we do some talking trash, and I'll pull up the snow report from my various sources.
Cool. I just wanted to give a shout out that there was a found long-haired black cat that's still looking for its home. Um, it's let's see, Persephone, I believe, is somebody who was missing. It's not Persephone.
Mhm.
So I hope this long-haired black cat's owner has found its way back home. It's a very good-looking cat. I'm going to link to that in the newsletter as well. But she looks like a very good girl, and I'm sad to see that she's missing.
Hmm.
Um, while we're talking trash, there's a new law going into effect on January 1st. Colorado hands-free law goes into effect, which means basically you can't drive with your phone in your hand. So penalties start with a $75 fine and 2 license suspension points for the first offense. Hand-free accessories include Bluetooth headsets, dash mounts, CarPlay, and Android. So you can use your CarPlay. I guess you just can't use CarPlay on the phone. So,
Was
you
that
know,
not already a law, hands free? Like,
that's kind of what I thought. I guess it wasn't punitive, or they didn't have something on the books, you
mm,
know.
okay.
So I don't know. I mean, that seems like a good thing for public safety, although it's always like kind of suspect when you have some kind of like vague, you get pulled over. They're like, oh, you had your phone in your hand. You're like, no, dude, what? I was drinking a beer. They're like, oh, yeah, it's a DUI. It wasn't your phone after all. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah. Because I know in California, if you're just holding your phone, ticket pulled over, like
ticket.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows if they'll enforce it, but like it is a major concern. People texting is probably more dangerous than like drinking and driving, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got to be up there at least. What I don't
Yeah.
understand though is like, when you have the little mounts with the phone, like a lot of like you see like Uber drivers or Lyft drivers or what or different people have it. That's almost like that's some gray area because I feel like the difference between looking at if you're holding your phone here and you look over at your phone versus like 6 inches over here mounted, is it that much of a difference? I don't know.
Mm,
But then I guess that kind of plays into the conversation of like Teslas, where it's basically a giant iPad that you're looking
Yeah.
at. So I don't know. It's a weird gray area for sure. But I guess autonomous driving will solve all of these issues.
Yeah. And maybe it'll help. I mean, you guys are probably like me. If you come up to like a traffic light, you look at every single car, everybody's looking at their phone.
yeah,
Hmm.
without a
Like,
doubt. Everyone's
so
on it.
everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll stay abreast on what's going on with phones in cars. The other
Yeah.
thing I wanted to bring up for talking trash was this headline from the Denver Post. Now I went to try and read it, but it was like, there was some kind of like paywall, so I haven't read it. So take it for what it's worth. But Coloradans are making fewer babies, and migration can't be counted to fill the gap. So I brought this up because this seems to be a growing trend. When I was a kid, way back in the day, everything was like overpopulation. The world was going to be overpopulated. Overpopulation. Now it's completely switched. Now everybody's concerned that like we're not making enough children to replace ourselves. So neither you kids or neither you guys have kids. Do you feel guilty and responsible for the doom of planet Earth and the human population?
Not
I,
yet.
yeah, not yet.
Maybe we rescued the civilization from overpopulation.
Yeah,
Uh,
that problem solved. Oh, new problem.
yeah, yeah. I think it's people are having babies later now than they were several years ago. Like, um, what is it? The average costs in let's see, the average cost of a childbirth baby in the first year in Colorado is approximately $18,865. Sorry, that's just for the childbirth expense. Total estimated cost for the first year. Total cost average in Denver is $30,253 for having a kid,
Yeah,
Wow.
it ain't cheap.
including childcare, baby essentials, health insurance, childbirth. So I think
Dude, I
that plays a
paid
huge role.
yeah, I paid over $7,000 for the birth of my kids, each one of them, with insurance. So like insurance covers it, and then they still hand you a bill. And they're like, because they'll be like, hey, do you want us to check your kids for hearing? You're like, oh, sure. And they
Mm.
have a little, I don't know what they like clap in
Oh,
their ears or something. And they're like, oh, that's $1,000, not covered by insurance.
they hit
Yeah.
you with the upsell charges at birth.
Yeah.
Oh man, come
The
on.
the
Right at
upsell.
birth
Oh,
for a
that's
quick test, 5-minute test, $1,000.
hmm
Yeah.
They don't even know if the baby can hear that stuff or not.
I'm
Yeah,
doing an
exactly.
at home birth in the bathtub.
A discount.
Yeah.
Get a coupon to go have a kid.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man. I mean, to your point too, Troy, I know of two people that are my age. I just turned 47, and they have a 1 year old.
Wow.
Whoa, dude. That's
With
that's
no other kids prior.
yeah, their first kid, and they're like struggling because, I don't know. It seems like if you wait that long, then you're just kind of expecting like a kid will be like an exotic accessory. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, man, there's a reason you have kids young, because like, dude, it's the first few years is like, exhausting. They're on top of you all the time.
Right. Right. This is
You
kind of
know,
kind of some cool data. In the early 1990s, the average age for first-time mothers in the United States was around 24 years old. By the 2020s, the average age for first-time mothers had risen to approximately 27 to 28 years old. And
Hmm.
it's now today around 31 years old. So,
wow, for the first baby.
so even in this 30-year time span, it's gone up 5, 6 years. I mean, it's probably even lower the farther back you go, I would assume.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know scientifically enough about it. It's interesting how terrified they are. I mean, Japan, it's like a major problem, you
Hmm.
know.
Right.
So then you factor in we're gonna all have AI girlfriends here in like a couple months.
Mm, yeah, that's gonna put a dent
Wow.
in it.
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
they're also saying that by 3030 there could be like 200 million robots. So that's what happens. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that is the truth that AI and robots is the evolution of humanity. Like
Hmm.
we turn into machines and
Hmm.
just you merge with it at some point and live for eternity in the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
That way we don't need oxygen. We don't need food.
Yeah, reduce waste, reduce the use of resources.
As long
I don't
as
know though, because the robot development could just increase those things as well. We just don't know.
who
Totally.
knows? Need some
Yeah.
solar
I
power
mean,
Yeah.
robots.
and it could be predetermined. You know what I mean? Like all this technology has emerged. It seems like on a linear trajectory. And I watched a YouTube video recently, so it's true, but it's this guy that smokes DMT pen and then looks at a laser beam on the wall. And apparently you can see the code. That's what he calls it, like a code of reality, or at least the wall. And I
Whoa.
guess what makes it kind of interesting is that it's not subjective. Like everybody sees the same thing, you know? So in the past, where they're like, well, you're under the influence of a drug, there's like some kind of inebriation. And, some people will see a dragon, some people will see, spirits and angels and demons and whatnot. But he's like, no, 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 you get this laser, you point it on there, and there's like 1,000 people that have done this experiment and see it. So
Hmm.
which is interesting, and he postulates that like this is a simulation and that's the code that links us all together, and then takes it a step further that like perhaps the true natural state, or the ultimate natural state of humanity, is actually not based in flesh but based in silicon, and that's how we're going to get off the rock and travel to some other planet, which I don't really understand that direction, because other planets look whack. Earth is like really pretty.
Yeah. Earth is the best one so far.
For
Agreed.
now. For now.
Nice. All right, I drove this puppy into the weeds. Um, Today's feature is shop local this holiday season. We'll link to a red DMT laser.
Yeah.
Uh, let's jump in on events. Tom, what do you got, buddy?
Yes, and really quick, snowpacks. Most mountains are
Yeah,
around 40 to 50% open. Some are a little bit less than that. We're looking anywhere from 30 inches up to like 40 inches of packed powder on the bases of these mountains. So up top's probably some more. There was a big storm this past weekend that was bringing 2 to 3 feet to a lot of our mountains. So nothing really planned for this next week. Maybe Sunday and Monday, some snow in the mountains, but it's looking predominantly sunny for the week to come, until next week. So that's our quick overview of the
love it.
snow conditions. All right. Quick events. Sunday, December 8th, we have Denver Progressive House Music Holiday Party. This is a daytime party at Fort Greene, and these guys do really good day parties. I was at the last one, and they're doing it right. It's gonna be from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. You'll be out of there before 9. I mean, you can't ask for much more than that when we're some old folks starting to listen to progressive house all day long. So
Yeah.
check that out. I mean, it's really good. The DJs and the artists on that group right there are super good, and I know a lot of them. They're all super cool people. So check that out. It's gonna be fun. Tickets are like $20, and Fort Greene is a nice place for that type of thing. So check that out. One more concert for the bass people, Barclay Crenshaw at Mission Ballroom, with support from Liney, Mary Droppins, 2 others, Shanghai Doom, and Strategy. It's a big lineup of very well-known people. Barclay Crenshaw, new bass artist, but an old house artist. He is also known as Claude Von Stroke. This is his
Dirty Bird, CEO, founder.
Yes, this is his bass alter ego. So Barclay Crenshaw. I mean, Claude Von Stroke is a legend in his own, and label manager for Dirty Bird, as Troy was just saying. And this is the bass project, so definitely worth checking out. Big energy over there. Everybody loves it. And then one last thing, which I wanted to bring up. I noticed this last week. Like, we're just straight up selling mushrooms on the streets now, out in the open in Denver.
Yeah.
It's come to that point where I guess we're kind of becoming like a Amsterdam of sorts for the U.S., and I'm sure it's not going to be long until there's actual mushroom dispensaries. But I saw an entire stand set up on Larimer Street the other day, just straight up selling mushrooms of all different kinds and chocolates and whatever. So I wanted to highlight this event on Sunday, the free mushroom gifting coat drive. It's going to be at Bruz off Fax, which is on York Street off of Colfax. And essentially, your entry is a coat to donate. They're going to be collecting coats. Their goal is to get 150 coats to donate to people in need. And in exchange, you get access to this free mushroom gifting event. Who knows if they're also going to be accepting free donations in exchange for the mushrooms. But yeah, that's just going on. I mean, they're just promoting this stuff now, and it's decriminalized here in Denver, but the sale and production and distribution of magic mushrooms is not. So be careful out there. We're not promoting illegal activities, but we're just letting you know what's going on around town. But the consumption and like personal use of mushrooms is decriminalized, so it's another thing to keep in mind.
But if it's free, then
yeah, that's the point of the free gifting. I'm sure it's some kind of loophole.
Interesting.
It's the most Denver event of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's got extra coats, and everyone wants mushrooms, and everyone wants to help people in need. So
yeah.
When are we going to see the first mushroom speed dating or mushroom
with yoga?
Yeah, mushroom with yoga.
Mushroom yoga sounds good. Mushroom speed dating sounds like a nightmare.
Oh man, yeah, you'd be like no eye contact.
Yeah, just
you'd be too intense.
Horrible.
Man.
Yeah. Well, has it been 2 years or has it been a year since basically they opened the doors on psychedelics? At least a year. It might be 2. I think it might be 2. And just interesting that like there's just no mention. There's a store. I don't know if it's a dispensary, but it's on Federal, and it's just like a mushroom store. I know they're advertising spores, that you can go in there and get spores, but I'm sure, I remember last year we were talking about the holiday market where I went into, and it was just like dudes just selling, there's the guy has the beard oil that he handcrafted. There's a nice gal that made some jewelry. And then there's the guy that grew all these mushrooms that he's happy to sell you, So, I mean, that's cool. Ultimately, it's like we believe in a free society. And if there's no problems, there's no problems. And maybe it's because psilocybin, to most people, they have no idea what that is. So it doesn't make good news headlines. because when weed became legal in Denver, it was like every other week they're reporting on somebody eating too many edibles, or there was always some sensational weed story. That's kind of died
Yeah,
off.
Mm-hmm.
someone who
But
did a crime just so also happened to be high on weed.
yeah, or they're doing like sobriety tests. They're like, this guy took 5 bong rips. Watch him drive around a parking lot in cones, and he's like, perfect.
Yeah. It's just extra careful and slow.
Yeah, he's that's his natural state. But yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, I never see anything negative about psilocybin. So,
Yeah,
nice.
guess we'll see how it
Maybe
goes.
I wonder if that red laser thing would work. Maybe you could bring a laser to the coat check, and that would be your trade.
Mm-hmm.
Find the code.
Absolutely.
Nice. Thanks, Tom.
For sure. You want to run through yours real quick, Ryan, and then we could do a quick wrap up in 7 minutes.
Yeah, totally. I'll do this really quick. So first thing, if you're looking for that old timey Christmas and you want to cut your own tree, Colorado Parks and Wildlife has you covered for $10. You can go and cut your own tree. And if you like that Charlie Brown Christmas, particularly, these are going to be for you. So this is going to be okay. Permits are only available on December 7th and 8th. So it's only this weekend. This is at State Forest Park in Walden, Colorado. So you got to buy a park pass and then I think spend another $10 to go cut down a tree, which is a great thing to do. I love that. We've got the Wings and Wonder Winterfest. So the Denver Audubon is hosting its first ever Wings and Wonder Winterfest, a series of special events highlighting community-driven conservation that range from birding field trips and educational programs. So we're talking about birds and Christmas. Sounds amazing. That is at the Kingery Nature Center at Waterton Road in Littleton. Symposium 2024, The Future of Science Policy. This is at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. What was this again? Let me just rush through this. Okay, that's right. It's looking how policy systems can be structured using science to ensure the best possible future and roadblocks to impede the future by examining 3 fields: AI, tech, public health, and climate policy. So I thought this was interesting by using science in here, because particularly with AI, we've already seen Sam Altman try and dig a regulatory moat around his whole industry. And I'm watching this very closely because as opposed to the crypto markets that opened 10 years ago or so, AI is very cost prohibitive to get into it. We're really relying on like these gigantic tech companies, Google, Meta, OpenAI, Grok, that they're going to like allow us to use these things. So I think it would be interesting for me to go there from a scientific perspective to maybe talk about like the democratization of AI. And maybe that's the regulatory body that needs to be kind of evoked. It's not necessarily like, if this falls into the wrong hands, we're all doomed. It's like, no. Maybe it should fall into everybody's hands up to a point, So I'm not sure. We've also got the Krampus Holiday Market. This is at Rocky Mountain Punk Nature Art and Oddities. Sounds like a great store. Up on Wadsworth. And I put this in here largely because Krampus is amazing. I don't know if you've seen these videos coming out of like Norway, like the Krampus parades.
Oh, I was at a Krampus parade once.
It's like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is very scary.
Dude.
Well, the concept of Krampus is that here we get coal if we're bad. There in Europe, like Northern and Eastern Europe especially, if you're bad, the Krampus monster is going to come take you away from your parents and family.
And the costumes are like so scary.
Yeah.
It's like America has Halloween and candy, and they're just like, hold my. He's like Sasquatch demons, I was showing it to my son. I was like, dude, look at this, is white people powwow right here. Look at this. Look what happens when white people have a powwow. It's the most demonic, scary thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, but it gets wild.
Norway doesn't have a lot of sun, so
Right.
But yeah, there's a Krampus holiday market. Should be pretty cool. Last thing I've got is the 5280 Muay Thai holiday seasons beatings. You know, nothing like a
Nice.
good season beatings.
Decent
That's
meetings. Love that.
that's at the Stampede 2430 South Havana this Saturday. And this is not a smoker for folks that know what kind of Muay Thai culture. Like, these are real fights, and Muay Thai is super fun to watch. I mean, it's these guys just stand in front of each other, and it's all elbows and knees. So if you're a fight fan, go check that out for sure. And the difference being is smokers are usually in gym, and there's a lot of smokers where people are sparring, usually headgear, shin guards, stuff like that. It's a little bit like held back. Like, this is like a true season's beating. So go check that out.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Tom, you want to hit us with the feature?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna highlight just one local business. Well, actually, I had two things. The first one was the Chris Kindle Market in the Capitol. What's it called? God, Capitol Park, Civic Center Park. That's a good way to shop local. Some local distributors always set up there in their stands. And then one other company is rskf.co. Get yourself some of the latest and greatest Denver street fashion wear that's popular amongst the youngins. rskf.co. Get your Denver, Colorado branded merchandise from a local company that I can guarantee is local. And
The Denver hat. That Denver.
the Denver hat, yes, that is it. I've been seeing them all over town. Yeah, those are the only two things I was going to highlight for the feature.
Dope. Love it. I'm gonna give a shout out to Denver Bazaar. If we're supporting local gifts, go all the way straight to the artisans with the pop-up shops. So I was on the founding board of the Denver Bazaar. It used to be called the Friday Night Bazaar back before Brighton was redeveloped. We did these like pop-ups in like abandoned what was it? It was a gas station and garage. And we'd do all these like artisans and food trucks that would come in, and they really kept that spirit alive. They sold that production, and now it's much more polished. And so Denver Bazaar has probably 3 or 4 different pop-ups, and you can expect 30 to 40 artisans, handmade foods, handmade jewelry, handmade clothes, just awesome stuff. People that are passionate are out there getting their wares out. So definitely check out Denver Bazaar. And I think that's a wrap, largely because I've got a 2 p.m. and we started a little late. But I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
We made it through. We got done what we needed to get done.
Great episode. Great episode. Short, sweet, direct, efficient, everything.
In, out. Christmas is on the way.
Yeah.
It's good times. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out at realgooddenver.com. You can subscribe to the podcast and join our newsletter. So do it there, and we'll catch up with you guys next Tuesday. Thanks, guys.
All right.
All right. See you guys.